You might be thinking this sounds terrible, but you have to remember this kitty has claws. Okay. You may think that this sounds bad, but that's just your lack of imagination. And frankly, it's insubordination and churlish. And we're not going to stand for it. So we're going to try it. We're going to try it. We're going to rise above, creating black holes, using anti-gravity to move around. It's going to be okay. We're gonna manage, okay? I don't know how this is gonna go, but I think we all have a feeling this is going to be difficult. Oh no, oh, it's starting. Hold on.
Now Metropolis is under siege and it's being suppressed in media. I had to get in there and do something. Okay, I had some help from the Suicide Squad. Thanks, Dad. Shot. Anyway, Brainiac's been doing this mega colonizing shtick across multiple dimensions. So I've been exploring, documenting, and making plans. Unlike some people. We'll work on that when they get here. So, where is here? I mean, look at this. What even is this, Brainiac? Actually, first, I have something to show y'all straight from Brainiac's lab. Woo! Oh, I'll be back. We're supporting some great charities this month. Mods, drop the info links. This message is for Deadshot, Floyd Lawton. Hey, Dad, it's me, Zoe, which you know, obviously. So I broke a few rules, but I had very valid reasons, okay? Columbus, some cool Catwoman memorabilia, and I found your favorite space cop, if you can be cool about it. Listen, things are spicy and I shouldn't do it alone, so, you know, come pick me up.
Wow. In the first, 90 seconds, she calls the Suicide Squad colonizers. When she said she was stealing Catwoman memorabilia, she was really witty and said Columbus instead of stealing. Dude, it is like a parody of itself. It straight up is. There is a term, okay, in internet culture. Does anybody know what it means to be a Poe or Poe's Law? Do you know what I'm talking about? So Poe's Law is an adage. This is just reading straight off the Wikipedia page. It's an adage of internet culture which says that without a clear indicator of the author's intent, any parodic or sarcastic expression of extreme views can be mistaken by some readers for sincere expression of those views. In other words, when you get so far to the end of the outrageous spectrum of whatever we're talking about in this case, it's the really, really cringe, slay college campus Tumblr. I don't even know how to describe this, but you know the types. When you're so far on that edge of that extreme, you can't tell the difference between when they're serious or if somebody is making fun of it, which is why people are saying that this sounds like a parody of these types of games. This sounds like a character that was designed by people making fun of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. But no, it's real. They actually thought players, because bear in mind, this was probably made a year and a half ago before the game launched. They thought that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League would not just be successful as a game, but that people would be coming back to the game to play as Lawless. Or they knew people wouldn't connect with this and they didn't care, because it wasn't about getting you the best possible product. It wasn't about getting you something you wanted as a gamer. It was about teaching you something, which is why people have disconnected from it. This is the one thing, there's many things gamers can't stand, but one of the most significant and potent poisons to any game is when you have contempt for gamers. When you talk down to them, when you act as though they are the problem. And if they don't like it, it's a them problem. It's okay, well then we're not gonna buy your game. Dark Knights in Fear World Elseworld. Travel to the newly discovered Fear World Elseworld for 6 new incursions. Okay. So does Lawless not have her own Elseworld? Skull Ship, once you reach the recommended Thieves rank, it's time to take Brainiac, fight Mayhem, take this latest iteration to provide window Lawless needs to escape the Skull Ship, and aid the Suicide Squad with its stolen anti-gravity tech and electrifying playstyle. So we have to grind to level 40 to get there. Okay, straight into the action. Episode 5 Thieves. Okay. Loading. For whatever reason, whenever the game loads on Xbox, it like disconnects and reconnects 15 times. So it might take a minute. So at the start, what do you think? It is somehow worse than I was expecting. Somehow. The season is themed around Catwoman.
We have intel on a new Brainiac dimension. A world completely steeped in fear.
Is it full of vampires?
Ooh, those are very scary. You seen spiders? Ask Boomer sometime. He's an expert.
You two, focus. And stay that way, goddammit.
As I was saying, this intel comes from the vigilante Lawless. Lawton has a bit of a personal stake.
Why? Not like Lawless is his mom or his kid or something.
George, please use your reasoning skills.
Make contact, see what Lawless can do for us. And Lawton, you will not compromise this mission. Got it?
Oh, so Lawless is his mom.
I can't, man. So this is how the season is expected to go. Okay, you basically start with the squad from the last season. You grind out Elseworld missions or various missions. Like you see how like there's basically 2 battle passes that are going at any given time. Once you level up a particular battle pass, you gain access to the big mission, which unlocks the new character, but you have to grind for that. For me, in my opinion, it's not particularly interesting to do that with characters from previous seasons. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get Lawless by throwing $10 at them. And I will be one of the 3 people that are doing it. And then we can just try it and move on. Do as I say, not as I do. I just don't have the strength to grind this out for ages. Here we are. This is Lawless. Do we have like a description? View
Ready
talents.
to try one of your brain chemistry is fascinating. Let's tweak it some more.
I don't know. just no. Just no. Mr. Boogle, for your sacrifice with the $10 super chat. You're too kind. I figure with this, I have, I throw $10 at them. I'll make a lot more than that in these videos. And then it spares everybody else out there from having to grind this out. I swear to God. Okay. Boop, you ready? Are you sure you wish to purchase this? No. There should be a button that's just, I don't have a choice. They have skins as well. Look at these skins. Okay. The ones for Mrs. Freeze are like this. Unbelievably bad. Like this is a $10 skin, by the way. Just to keep that in mind. Okay. You can wear a mason jar on your head while looking like some sort of weird. You remember Codename Kids Next Door? The mustard guns? Was it number 2? Whichever one was like the big guy with the yellow suit. You know what I'm talking about? That's basically what this is.
Donated $10 through Super Chat for Mr. Boogle's sacrifices.
For Mr. Boogle's sacrifices. Thank you for the 10 as well. You guys are too kind. Manga Furry, what a name. Thank you for the €10. Wow, this is a peak origin story. Give Rocksteady a promotion. Yeah, I think they're getting promoted right out of their jobs. Seems like this. I'll give them this. This is not the worst skin that I've seen for this game. Now, to be fair, it's not saying a whole lot because the standards were pretty low. But this one also not bad. This is at least something original. This is like a new 52 style. These aren't bad. I'll give them this. These skins are not the worst that I've seen. This new this new season. I'll give them that. Okay? Credit where credit is due. Some of the ones they've released are horrifyingly stupid and bad, but others, like, you know, this is just ridiculous. I understand it's historical, but it looks horrible. But some of these, okay, I'll give them credit. Not bad. Not bad. Okay? Having said that, now I have to try to remember how to add her to the squad. So just a second. Holy shit, we actually just got a sale in the shop. Oh wait, it was Luke Stevens. Yeah, that's probably what's happening. Okay, let's see. Did it work? Or is it Mrs. Freeze again? Nope, she's there. Okay, it worked this time. I was like, what am I gonna do if you can't play with her? Like you buy it, you just can't play. They're like, what a fitting way to wrap this up.
I could explain where this came from, but it's easier to show y'all.
Okay. So character design. Again, not the worst we've seen. Mrs. Freeze definitely takes that cake, but not the worst we've seen. I'll give him that. Little electro trail when she runs around, but that's because of the stuff I have equipped.
Lois Lane here, Metropolis, reporting on the latest.
Okay, let's see the movement.
I guess I should say dimensional.
You hold down right bumper, she just kind of floats.
Until now, we've seen the invasion of sections
Oh, this is
of
weird.
other realities into our own.
So
This time it's unmistakably Gotham City. I can confirm it's not our
you
Gotham.
can left bumper to float. Yeah, this is weird.
Wider Metropolis area.
I think the reason it works this way is because she's built around being a sniper. So I think most of this is tied up in like staying stationary so you can land snipe shots.
Reported symptoms.
But it's very different from the other characters. It's like very, well, literally floaty. She's just turning off gravity.
As extremely dangerous.
It's very weird.
Not only are they well guarded,
Should we go pop some zits?
machines are capable of.
Look, she's just falling. It's symbolic of the game itself. Boop. Oh, right as I walk into a wall. Cap.
Because this is basically an ordinary vacation in
Do a little flippy jumps. Zip over here. Yeah, I understand why this girl is on fire. I understand why they have her set up the way she is, why she's so floaty. It just doesn't feel that good. Like, compared to Harley, who's like swinging through the air, or Joker, who's exploding his way around. It just doesn't feel that great. I can kind of understand why they didn't put videos of her movement all over the place like they did for some of the other characters. It's just not as interesting. Yeah, it's really weird. I don't really like it, if I'm being real. But I mean, is anybody that surprised? Is anybody that shocked? Did you see? Breaking news. Luke didn't really like the movement. How weird. How strange. Couldn't have seen this coming. Shoot the zits. Okay. Well, I guess we should do a mission before we just totally give up. Let's see. Just falling forward. Lego DC supervillains, dude. I love me some Lego Lego games. I don't care what anyone says. People are like, oh, they're for kids. I love them. I eat them up. I'm trying to get the hang of it. It's super floaty because she's supposed to snipe stuff, but it's just weird. Just feels weird, man.
Maintain position.
Maintain position.
Personally responsible for any contagion.
Ow! Jesus, leave me be. I was about to say, ooh, it's good to be back, but that's not true. They're like, okay, we didn't want to do servers for this this season because it's getting really expensive. So instead, we're just gonna run everything off of an Ouya we had sitting in the closet. Like seeing this, okay, like I get it. I get why we're doing the floaty thing. It's just, there's just a difference between like being able to justify something. Oh, I touched the lava, that's why. This is their animation for the lava, touching lava. You just go to a black loading screen and then Joker sits on you. That's really what it is? Okay. One of my icks is people defending really bad choices, being like, well, it was a choice. Like, yeah, everything is. Doesn't mean it was a good one. Okay, let's see her ultimate. Let's see this. Little black hole. Oh, it doesn't even like pull them in or anything. It just does AoE damage. That's kind of too bad. I was kind of hoping that it would be like more like, oh, everybody's pulled into the center and then you throw your grenades in or something. But no, it just does like a little AoE pop. Okay, whatever. It's somehow worse than I expected it to be, because like even for Mrs. Freeze, just so everybody's aware, for Mrs. Freeze, there was like things were like snow themed, because it was supposed to, remember, the game was supposed to launch like last year. And so the Mrs. Freeze season was supposed to be the Christmas winter season. Joker was supposed to be Halloween. And this would have been, I guess, like spring going into summer, which is why it's just generic Catwoman. It's nothing like specific. And so like all the seasons don't really make sense to begin with, but at least Mrs. Freeze changed a good amount of stuff with the map. Like there was snow stuff, there were things like that. But for Lawless, as a character, she has so little to do with anything except for Dad Shot. All they've done is they've tied in little nods to the Arkham series and to Catwoman, even though Catwoman's not in the game, which they've done before. Like, I think the season 1 thing was all themed around Scarecrow, even though he had nothing to do with anything and he wasn't in the game. You couldn't find him, couldn't fight him, couldn't play as him, nothing. And so it's just very disjointed. It feels very, very weird. Like I would rather play as Scarecrow than Lawless. Like maybe Lawless is a really cool character and I just don't know anything about her. But even people who I think are pretty familiar with Arkham stuff, or with DC stuff rather, even they are like, Lawless? What? Who? Like we get the clock tower, very Arkham City looking clock tower. Okay. Very Gotham. But even this, like this is it. It's just plopped here. It just sits here. There's nothing else. It's just enough to make you be like, oh, I wish I were playing that game. That's all it does. It's like, oh yeah, I wish this were that. That's the extent of it. I don't know, man. It's just, at this point, like we know what this is. We know that they're just releasing the stuff they already had built and then they're going to be abandoning it. That's not really a surprise to anybody, but it's still just so shocking to see how little work went into this stuff. How little thought, like, and the thought they did put into it was for like her story as like a streamer influencer or whatever. It's just so insulting and stupid and dumb. And I just, you know, some people are like, you know, we focus too much on the negative. Maybe we should focus on like celebrating how difficult this game was to make. And I get that, like, drum circle, let's all sit around and sing Kumbaya and just enjoy gaming and blah, blah, blah. Like, I get that. But these people are charging $70 for this game. It still is $70. I know it was available for free for Amazon Prime days, whatever. I get that. but they're charging $70 for this. At that point, I don't care if the characters are like super slay and cool, and if the characters are like anti-rich person, whatever. This is coming from a multi-billion-dollar corporation that doesn't care about you. Okay, you're not. You don't have to defend them. Okay, it's okay. You'll be fine. Again, I'm just kind of surprised that there's not more to her black hole ability than just like a big grenade. It's just so lazy. After this, I mean, already I feel like we've seen all that there is here. She's somehow less interesting. Her movements extremely boring. The Joker at least was like really flashy. She just kind of rolls or floats. Like there's nothing else to really say. There's nothing else to really say. So should we watch the cutscene? Should we see what you could grind 10 hours to get? Should we see? Because I'm already at that point where I'm just like, there's just nothing here. Breaking all the rules. That's what she screamed. She even looks bored. Look at that. She's even tired of this. Please, let me die. Give me back to God. I don't want to be here anymore. Stop the world. I want to get off. Okay, let's see what this cutscene is. Let's see this, okay? I don't have the strength. I thought I did. I just don't. Let's see what this cutscene is that could justify all of this, okay?
I'm lawless. The lawbreakers already know what I'm about. But luckily for newbies, this is a good jumping on point. I did the whole Robin Hood thing in Gotham a while. That iceberg lounge party heist. Me and mine. Now Metropolis is under siege and it's being suppressed in media. I had to get in there and do something. Okay, I had some help from the Suicide Squad. Thanks, Dad. Shot. Anyway, Brainiac's been doing this mega colonizing shtick across.
Like, again, hundreds of people worked on this. And no one thought this would be mocked. There are people that talk like this, but nobody wants to be their friend. Nobody wants to hang around them. Like, the reason I was so excited to graduate from college was so that I wouldn't have to hear people do this weird, like, virtue signal. Everything is part of some grand scheme of a, like, it's exhausting. I want to play video games to get away from the struggles of class injustice and of wealth disparity and what else did she say? Colonize. I want to play video games to get away from the troubles of this world and to just live weird power fantasies of playing as members of the Suicide Squad, beating up Brainiac's forces. That's what I was looking for this game. But instead, they're like, no, we're going to do this weird rambly thing, and then you're all going to sit there and enjoy it, and then snap an agreement.
Multiple dimensions. So I've been exploring, documenting, and making plans. Unlike some people. We'll work on that when they get here. So, where is here? I mean, look at this. What even is this, Brainiac? Actually, first,
what even is this is a great question.
Something to show y'all straight from Brainiac's lab. Whoa! I'll be back. We're supporting some great charities this month. Mods, drop the info links.
So yeah, she robs and thieves, but she does charity streams, so it's okay.
Messages for Deadshot, Floyd Lawton. Hey, Dad, it's me, Zoe, which, you know, obviously. So I broke a few rules, but I have very valid reasons, okay? I Columbus some cool Catwoman memorabilia.
Oh, man. I Columbused some cool Catwoman memorabilia. Again, there's only two options. Either they actually thought gamers would connect with this and be like, she said Columbus. How witty. They thought people would do that. or they knew the reaction would be like this in chat and they didn't care. Neither option's good, but both options deserve failure. And I think that's the point of all of this, is no matter how you explain away this whole mess, not just like Lawless as a character choice and the writing and the weird like contempt for gamers and all that, but just the whole Suicide Squad phenomenon. No matter how you explain it away, the only conclusions you can reach are ones where this failure is well deserved. I don't feel bad for a second after all of this crap. Like they have worked. They didn't just like stumble into failure. They worked for this failure. They pushed for it, man. Yeah, they Columbused my joy right out of playing this.
Yeah, and I found your favorite space cop. If you can be cool about it. Listen, things are spicy and I shouldn't do it alone. So, you know, come pick me up.
Okay. Now be strong, guys. We're going to watch the ending. We're going to watch the ending, okay? This is what you grind hours for. Already I can see the comments on this. Everything about this screams Sweet Baby. Well, to be clear, so if you're not familiar somehow at this point, the references to Sweet Baby Inc., that is a consulting firm that I don't even know if they're still operational. I wouldn't be surprised if they shut down and went under a new name and are just still doing the same thing under a different like company name. But basically it was a company that consulted on games for sake of improving, I think specifically they said on their website, diversity, equity, inclusion, social justice, blah, 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 like all the stuff you would expect. And they would go to companies and say, hey, we're going to consult on your game. And basically in exchange, we won't light you up on Twitter. And we'll help you either just try to increase diversity, or we'll even write your story for you, offer consulting writing, have our team help you with that. Suicide Squad is like one of their biggest projects. And by most accounts, they were the ones that like wrote all of this stuff. So they are like in many ways responsible for the way this panned out. Does that excuse Rocksteady? Absolutely not. Because again, you can have consultants you hire that you don't take the advice of. I've done like consulting on games, for example, some which ended up like being announced and then canceled, others that never saw the light of day, others that are still in production and will hopefully release one day. But one of the things I consulted on, I'm not allowed to be specific about this, so I'm sure you understand, but one of the things I consulted on, they were doing something that I considered to be very anti-consumer. And I told them like, this is not going to go over well if you try to do this. And I consulted on that, and I told them that as clearly as I could, and they did not take the advice. They stayed doing what they were doing. And that game ended up flopping, and it was a total disaster. Now, technically, I consulted in that project very early on. They got my feedback. They didn't take it. They, in my opinion, should have. But honestly, I don't think it would have saved the game regardless. But the point of this is that there are times where you could consult on a game and not take the consultant's advice. So just because Sweet Baby can say, hey, we consulted on this game, does not mean necessarily the game will be bad. It still is up to the company to take good advice and ignore bad advice. The problem with Suicide Squad is that they took all the bad advice, and it seems they didn't ask for good advice from anybody. And so what you get is just concentrated, terrible advice to speed run losing $200 million. With this, I can tell that like Lawless as a character was born out of those consultation sessions. And I think we all can tell that was not born out of a careful consideration of what the fan base would want. This was done by those consultants, and the people at Rocksteady either agreed or were too scared to disagree, or were ignored when they disagreed on the choices that these consultants made. Again, regardless, it doesn't bode well for the company. But let's see what we've got. Let's see.
Listen, we go in there. We tell Waller we're not letting her do that to any kid. Any more kids.
Welcome to Task Force X. Zoe Lawton.
Ugh, here we go.
This is low. Even for you, Waller. She...
Hello? I'm right here? Ugh, that is so like you to go right past me.
I haven't asked anyone to do anything I wouldn't do myself in this situation. I certainly haven't compromised my morals. Maybe you're just projecting.
Zoe is 13 years old. You can't just...
Dad! I'm 18. This is...
Everybody catch your breath. Hold on. I know you're probably clinging to the desk or to your mouse. Just relieve the tension. Massage your hands. Loosen, loosen, loosen. And we're going to keep going.
my choice, okay? I'm doing what feels right, which I thought you'd be all about. And I definitely do know what I'm getting into, okay?
Yeah, girl. Don't let your dad tell you what to do, you rebel.
Your dad's right. You can't go making life-altering decisions like that. I didn't listen to my old man. You want to end up like me?
Have you ever even seen the bomb in your heads? Because I've gone over full schematics, and according to my information, y'all are the ones who let a shady government agency strip you entirely of your rights.
Oh man, we're only halfway through. We're getting there, guys. We're getting there. We're getting there. Deep breaths. Oh my god.
You let them inject you with a thing you didn't understand. Like, at all.
Is this now turning like, are they gonna go like anti-vax on this? This is a twist I wasn't expecting. You let them inject you with something you didn't understand at all. Like, is that where this is going? What is happening? Like, this is a roller coaster, dude. I'm trying to follow. Man, I think the commenters are also right. I think they're right. I think the animation quality also took a nosedive. Like, you notice how they keep cutting away from like close-ups on like her face, on a couple of the characters' faces whenever they're having like strong emotions. I think it's because like I don't think that they have their A team doing the animations and stuff. Like it does seem like it's not tip top like the first season was. Joker's stuff was at least well done. This seems rushed, but let's try to hold on.
Agency strip you entirely of your rights. You let them inject you with a thing you didn't understand. Like, at all. And you ran headfirst into literally an apocalyptic war zone. Like, with explosion and destruction and everything.
In my defense, I thought it was the best way to see you again. These fools.
Dad!
I've never seen that written out. What the hell does this even mean? Someone wrote that into the script. What does that even mean? Sucks teeth? What? Do they mean like seething? Who in the history of humanity has ever said sucks teeth? Like, I have never in my life seen anybody say that. I never in a book, never in subtitles. I've never seen somebody refer to that as sucks teeth. This is wow.
Please, this is important. Okay, your bodily autonomy, right? I mean, what is even keeping you here?
Ooh, largely fear of our...
What did that have to do with anything? She's throwing out bodily autonomy. It's like they just went on, on like, you know, what are like the buzzwords we could say? Let's just throw them out. Yeah, sure, whatever.
This is important. Okay, your bodily autonomy, right? I mean, what is even keeping you here?
Ooh, largely fear of our boss. And you, progeny of Floyd Lawton. Why do you fight?
How many people get to say that they robbed an alien colonizer right under his nose and then kicked his ass?
That's how we're all feeling. What Deadshot just did right there. That's it. That's the feeling. Yep. Very accurate.
Basically, just me.
See, this isn't something you can just undo. Like.
Didn't hurt any more than my first tattoo.
You have
Oh,
a
she's
tattoo?
cool.
You have more than one? Girl, you hate needles.
Hope it's not for an ex.
Tattoos are a rite of passage.
Ink's already dry. Colonel Flag.
What's the Wi-Fi password, General Boy Scout?
I don't know.
Just give me a few. I'll figure it out for myself.
That's my girl.
Waller out. Yeah, it makes me want to suck teeth. I guess. It's, again, somehow worse than I was expecting. Like, the Joker, just kind of cringe, but not like ridiculous. Mrs. Freeze, like, I don't think the gender swap was necessary. I don't think it made the character any more interesting. Just seemed like a weird choice. At least her movement was kind of different, but you know, very forgettable. And then there's this where just, I don't even know what they could possibly have been thinking. It is baffling through and through, but it shows that this was like what they wanted to do. So all those gut feelings we had after like the first few months where it's like, I don't think the writing's there. I think like, it feels like they're more focused on these other things and the activist side of things than they are in actually making an interesting DC story. Like, this is a 3-minute rant about taking on an alien colonizer and bodily autonomy, and then it goes weirdly like echoing anti-vax sentiments. Like, I don't know what the hell is happening. It's just bizarre. And then the weird like frustrated like hand thing, like I don't understand that either. It's just really, really bad. But again, if you ever feel like maybe Rocksteady, maybe they don't deserve all this mockery. Maybe they don't deserve Luke making another video on the game. Just remember, like, they thought you would watch this and go, be like, she's my main. She slays. And even if they didn't think you would respond that way, they responded that way to this writing. They put this scene together. They all wrote it together. They blocked it together. And then they recorded it together. And then went through waves of editing and blocking and setting up the camera angles and all this. Taking weeks and weeks, touching everybody's hands at the studio, the lighting department, texture department, everybody. And not once did somebody step in and go, guys, what are we doing? What is this? It was never a concern. It was never a concern. I just, again, this last bit where she just screams out laughing, it's really weird.
You fight.
How many people get to say that they robbed an alien colonizer right under his nose and then kicked his ass? Basically, just me.
See?
I have a pretty high tolerance for crap. I you know, if anything, the last year and a half, I've made a decent living checking out games that are good and then also checking out the games that release that are absolute dog water. And this one has gotten to the state of like, there's not even much to say. It's just a parody of itself at this point. It's so cringy. I can't tell if this is supposed to be like the people within the team decided to turn the dials up and make this even more cringy so that they could nuke its performance even worse and get these people fired. Like, I don't know. But perhaps the main takeaway should be that everybody within these studios, everybody at these big companies, they are looking at Suicide Squad. They're looking at Concord. They're looking at these massive flops and they're trying to figure out why it's failing and the overwhelming negativity surrounding them. Same with like AC Shadows as well, the feedback around that. And the one thing that these big groups and executives care more about being perceived as cool by their grandchildren is money. Through and through. And so no matter how slay a character like Lawless may be, if she's going to lose them $200 million, at some point they just have to move on. And that's why, like, if you haven't heard the rumblings, Like there's been pretty significant layoffs within Marvel. There's been layoffs within Disney's writing staff, where a lot of the people that would probably celebrate this direction have been slowly let go. Producers being funneled out. And it's because it's not viable. If the audience hates it, then like what's the point? If the audience hates it, they're not going to give you money. And I think it was all built on the premise, a false premise that was sorely mistaken, where Suicide Squad was built around this. Suicide Squad was built around the idea that gamers are over here. There's a big bubble of gamers, right? This is just gamers. These are the people that actively play it. It's their hobby. And they thought that there would be this other big group of people over here, which are, I don't know what you'd call them, maybe like casual gamers, maybe if we say that, or like maybe casual gamers. I don't know what you refer to them, but they're people that are not in the like gamer category, the hardcore gamer category, but they still might play a video game occasionally. And they thought that they could build a game that was just so slay that this group would be totally captured by it and eat it up. And they wouldn't need to appeal to these guys at all. And so even if they hated it, great. Because gamers suck. Which is, I mean, the sentiment echoed by a lot of these people that consulted on this game is the same thing. And that was a false premise, because it turns out the circles are not actually that separate. It turns out it's probably much more like this, you know, a little bit of overlap or a good amount of overlap, and there's not that many people on the outside. And the people on the outside are probably more like mobile gamers, people playing Candy Crush that are still classified as gamers, even though they're probably not like going to play a console game, right? And so they just ended up pissing off everybody in this bubble to the point where there was no profitability to be found. None of these people were interested because it didn't look that good to begin with. And it's just the false premise of, hey, even a mediocre game, if we have these like boxes checked, those people that fit in those boxes will come and play this game. And it's just not true. People just want good games, regardless of what they look like, regardless of who they sleep with or how they talk or where they grew up or how wealthy they are. People are people, and they are more intelligent than just a single whatever identity. Like if they're a gamer, they just want to play good games. That's it. You know, just make a good game and they'll buy it. It's really not that complicated. But it was assumed that they could get around the problem of making good games if they could just appeal to these different little subsets. And that's just not the case. It just doesn't work that way. And I think they have learned the hard way.